Hello and welcome to today's episode of Bar Cart Branding. I am Megan Martin and I am so excited you are here. Today I'm going to teach you a really quick tutorial about how to create clipping masks within Adobe Illustrator. I have chosen to pretty much do all of my graphic design work these days in Adobe Illustrator. I find it a little bit easier to work with than Photoshop. Even though we're talking about manipulating images today, I still prefer Illustrator over Photoshop. I just find it much more user-friendly than Photoshop is. So I'm going to teach you how to do this in Illustrator today, and let's get to it. So this is an image you'll see from my collaboration with Laura Foote and the SC Stockshop. We have this image and it's this gorgeous model holding a cell phone. And so what I want to do is I actually want to create an overlay on top of her cell phone that she's holding. I want to basically put an image in that cell phone. And the way you do it is through creating clipping masks. I can show you really quickly. We have all of these images available in the SC Stockshop. You can go to scstockshop.com, shop by collection, and go to lifestyle by LF plus MM, and all of our lifestyle images are here. We have like different styled office areas, a lounge. You'll see images with screens. So this would be a great image that you could do a clipping mask on, a bigger screen image here. We have lots of different options for both colors and just different images to convey different messages and looks for your brand. But one of the ones that I really love are these phone images. We all are using our social media platforms pretty regularly in our businesses or our blog posts. And so these are great images to kind of highlight and feature what you're doing and what you're up to. So let's learn how to use these images to make that happen. So I have my image here already opened. And so what you're going to do is you're going to pull an image that you want to overlay on top of this cell phone. Now you could do this a couple ways. You could just use any image that you have, or you could screen capture an image from your screen. But since it is a cell phone, I would suggest screen capturing an image on your phone so that the dimensions are proportional in this case. So if you're trying to show off your latest blog post, try to screen capture it on your phone. Or maybe size your browser down if you're on your desktop to a pretty slim size so that it will look right when you try to overlay it on a cell phone. Now, if you're working with one of our desktop images or an image, or you're putting a clipping mask on anything and it's not so slim in profile, then you could totally just do a print screen on your phone and then copy paste that into Illustrator. But let's pull an image that I captured on my phone. So the way I do this is I would go back to my browser. Now I screenshotted an image. I don't know if that's a word, screenshotted, but I captured a screen image on my phone of my website. And I just simply take it from my photo library on my phone and email it to myself. There might be an easier way to do it, but that seems to work for me. So that's how I get it to my desktop. So I'm going to load into my email real quick. And I'm going to click on it and download it. And then once it's downloaded, you can come down here at the bottom of your window, right click and hit show in folder. And then it'll automatically highlight it within your folder that it downloads to. So I'm going to right click again, and I want to open with Adobe Illustrator. That image pops up in Illustrator. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to hit Control C for copy. You can X out of that. And I'm going to hit Control V for paste. So now I have my image that I want to overlay on my phone within my artboard in Illustrator. But I'm not quite ready to work with it yet. So I'm gonna, let's just move this over here. Okay. We can make it a little bit smaller so it's not so gigantic. Okay, so this is the image that we will be putting into that cell phone in just a minute. But before we do that, we have to create the space that the image will fit into, known as a clipping mask. So I'm going to hit Control Plus, and that just zooms my image in so I can see what I'm working with. In order to make a clipping mask, what you're doing is you're going to draw a shape. And in this case, the shape is a rectangle. So I'm going to come over to my toolbar in the left-hand side and click the rectangle tool. You can also hit M and that will automatically select the rectangle tool. Once my rectangle tool is selected, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to just draw a rectangle right on top of this cell phone. So I am drawing a rectangle. Okay, cool. So you can see now that the phone is not perfectly straight, so I'm just going to kind of fudge it a little bit and make my rectangle a little bit bigger. And when it zooms back out, you really won't be able to tell. You can also do this by, you can also, if you want it to be more perfectly in line with what the phone actually looks like the shape of the screen, you could use, you can come back over here and let me see, where's my anchor point tool? Here we go. We could use anchor points and then edit our rectangle to not be a perfect rectangle. So basically like fitting it perfectly to the screen the way it looks in the picture. But I just find that unless the screen that you're trying to overlay is really crooked, it doesn't really show that much when you zoom back out. So I just am fine with it the way it is. Okay, so let's make this a little taller. Cool. Awesome. Okay, so we have a rectangle now. This is just a shape within Illustrator. So what we're going to do is make it into a clipping mask. And the way that you're going to do that, let me zoom back out for you. Okay, so now you can see our rectangle on our cell phone and our image is over here. I'm going to click back on this image and I'm going to just move it over here. You can see that the image, if I make this a color, it'll be easier to see. Let's make it black. Okay, so you can see right now, based on my layers, the way that my layers are stacked, the image from the SC Stockshop is the bottom layer. The image from my phone is the middle layer, and my rectangle is now on top. Whenever you're creating a clipping mask in Illustrator, you want the shape that is going to contain the image to be on top of the image you want to clip. That is a difference between Illustrator and Photoshop. Photoshop does it the opposite way. So that's an important thing to remember when in Illustrator, that you want whatever shape you are wanting to contain your clipped image in to be on top, just like directly on top of the image layer that you will clip. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make this a teensy bit smaller, but I'm not going to do it all the way because I want to show you how you can still edit the size after. All right, come on. Oh, my mouse is just choosing not to work right now. Okay, let me see if I can reset this. Let me pause this real fast, figure out what's going on. Okay, back in business. I think my computer is just running a little bit slow right now. So, so I just resized the image just a little bit so it's not super big and you can tell when I clip it. So the way that we're going to literally put this image from my cell phone into this rectangle is we're going to come over here to our layers panel. You'll see rectangle. That's the tiny little rectangle we made for the cell phone. So that is highlighted, but really actually the image is selected right now on our artboard. We want to also select the rectangle. So So I'm going to hit the Shift button and click on rectangle. And I'm also going to come over here to the right hand side and make sure that it's selected as well. Just because I have it highlighted doesn't mean that it's selected on my artboard. I want to make sure it is selected. Both layers are selected. So you should see this little blue box over here. That means that it's selected. My computer is going quite slow right now. Come on. Okay, so now that my rectangle and my image that I want to clip inside of it are selected, you can do two things. You can go up to Object at the top of Illustrator, scroll down to Clipping Mask, and hit Make. And that just clipped the image from my cell phone into that rectangle. The other way you can do it is by just using the shortcut with your keyboard. So if you look at Object, Clipping Mask, Make, you'll see on a PC the shortcut to do that is Control-7. So if you were in Illustrator and you hit Control-7 once your shape and your image are both selected in your layers panel, that would automatically clip your image. So now you will see the image is tucked into the cell phone, but I didn't resize it all the way. So I need to fix that so that it looks correct. And all you do is come over here to your layers panel. You'll see Clip Group. That means you made a clipping mask. Now your rectangle looks like just an outline in the layers panel, and your image is underneath that. So if you come over to the layers panel, I just selected this layer. That doesn't mean that it's selected on the artboard. It's just highlighted in the layers panel. Just like we did a step ago, you have to just select it by coming over here and clicking where this little blue box could appear, and that will select your layer on the artboard for you. Come back to your artboard, hover over one of the corners, and make sure you hold down the Shift key whenever you manipulate an image in size. That way it keeps its correct proportions. So I'm holding down the Shift key, I'm clicking on this little corner, and I'm sizing it down to my rectangle. In Illustrator, if you're trying to size it perfectly to a shape or align it to something, you'll see a little pink line appear whenever you hit that shape outline. That way it's just telling you, okay, you have resized this to perfectly fit your rectangle or your shape, whatever shape you're looking at. I'm gonna make it a teensy bit bigger. If I can. Let's see. Only because I don't want this this search bar up here to show. I want to just show my website. I don't need to show that part. Now, in Photoshop, it is like absolutely big time no-no to resize your images and make them larger. But in Illustrator, it works a little bit differently. If you actually use the Shift key and make your images larger, you don't lose your image quality. That's another reason why I love working with Illustrator. It's okay to size your images up and down. You do not lose image quality. I'm telling you, no matter what anybody says, I do this all the time. And for probably all the blog posts you ever see on my website, the image quality looks just fine. And in Illustrator, I have sized images up and down a million times, and you can never tell the difference. So that is a little trick I will tell you about Illustrator, just in case you were wondering. So let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger to fill out my rectangle even better. Oh, I just made the rectangle bigger, sorry. Make sure you're just using the image layer, not the actual clipping, the full clipping mask. Cool. All right, so I'm just going to move this to kind of center it. And now you can see my website is now, hold on. Now you can see that my website is now overlaid on top of this cell phone, which makes it look like, hey, I want to talk to you about my website, or I want to talk to you about this great freebie that I have, or if I had a blog post that I wanted to feature saying, hey, here's our latest blog post, it's got great information, I could overlay it on here and kind of call to action, call you to action to go see that post. Some other great ideas are if you're talking about social media and how you use it to grow your business or connect with your ideal customers, you could screenshot and your Instagram profile or your Pinterest profile or Facebook or whatever. There are tons of ideas that you can do to use this idea of clipping masks. And it doesn't just go for this screen overlay idea. I use clipping masks all the time. For example, here are... I have a ton of Pinterest graphics that I've pre-made into templates, and all of these, like you can see over here in this frame, this is a clipping mask of one of my printables that I give away. Or over here I have this cute little iPad icon, and then I just have a clipping mask of that can fit right in here. Sometimes I use an actual image in this rectangle as opposed to just a color. Same thing with where you see watch me do it. If I were to show you over here, and if I were to remove this rectangle, this is an actual clipping mask of a screenshot of an Excel spreadsheet that I give away for free in one of my blog posts. So there are tons of different ways that you can use clipping masks. Here's another one. This is an image of me doing a video, and it's kind of calls to action that, hey, there's a free course with a video included. So there's tons of different ideas and ways that you can use clipping masks. And so that's pretty much it. I hope this tutorial was helpful, and I can't wait to see what you create. I definitely would love it if you do use our lifestyle images from the SC Stockshop. Go ahead and use the hashtag, especially on Instagram, hashtag SC Stockshop. I'm always looking in there for great people to feature and would love to do that for you. So hope you have a great day. See you soon.